Method Man, the RZA, Ghostface Killer. Man, I love the Wu-Tang Clan. Wait, what? Wuchang? What on earth is that? You might be wondering. Well, it's an excellent Souls-like with fluid combat, fantastic exploration, and a roster of fun, interesting bosses. Psh, no, not you, you're literally just a tree. I guess it's time to ignore half the mechanics in the game and pull a Baron by just bashing my head against it until something breaks. A little like this. Can you tank Wuchang Fallen Feathers? Let's get right into the rules. If you watched my Bloodborne tank run, it's fairly similar with a couple of major differences. If you didn't, why not? Go watch it. After this though, here's the deal. No avoiding attacks in any way, whether that be dodging, strafing, running away, or using spells. If an enemy's natural movement makes them miss me, that's their problem though. Unlike the Bloodborne vid, healing is allowed because the health regain mechanics in this game aren't as powerful as the rally system, and it's a 2025 Souls-like, so bosses have much longer, harder hitting combos. But also unlike my Bloodborne vid, I won't be running past any enemies en route to the bosses. If something wants to fight me, then it's jukes up, buddy. No foes left alive. And that's pretty much it. I'd also like to apologise in advance to the entirety of China for no doubt butchering half the names in this game. Let's proceed. Well, no character creation here, so that's really ruined my usual Chapter 1 intro bit. We play as the Chinese pirate Bai Ziyun, known as Wuchang. Our sister Bai Yu was killed in a brawl, and upon hearing about a magical item that can resurrect people, we set out to find it, only to succumb to a mysterious disease called the feathering, which has been ravaging the lands, turning people into birds and driving them crazy. With no memory of what we were doing or why, we wake up in a cave with our arm covered in feathers, get handed a longsword by a sexy lampshade, and head to the nearby Reverent Temple to meet some of the key players in the story and practice our sword skills on the local manlets. Wuchang's combat, at least on a normal playthrough, is a mix of Bloodborne-esque step dodges and backstabs, with a modern Souls-like posture break mechanic thrown in. But it also has a couple of fun new twists. Skyborn Might is your equivalent of mana, used to cast spells or unleash weapon skills, and is represented by this feathers icon, as well as these actual feathers on your arm. And the main way of gaining Skyborn Might is by timing your dodges, which makes for fun dynamic fights. You know, when you're actually allowed to dodge, that is.
While your foundation is solid, your trials are far from over.
The other mechanic is Madness. Basically, you gain madness by either killing human enemies or by dying. And at high madness you both deal and take more damage, as well as granting access to new powerful skill effects. So while it might sound counterintuitive for a face tanking build, being at max madness would actually help. Or make me die a bit quicker for your entertainment. It's definitely one of the two. I also want to briefly mention clashes. This game has an inbuilt mechanic whereby if you swing your weapon at the same time the enemy swings theirs, the weapons may clash, or bounce off each other, causing reduced damage to both parties. I deliberately wouldn't be using any weapon classes or skills that boost this mechanic, or trying to do it intentionally, but occasionally it will just happen without trying, so bear that in mind. Wuchang has 5 different weapon classes, and whilst the longsword is probably the easiest for new players to get the hang of, I'd be focusing on great axes, like this halberd found just outside Revenant Temple. It's big and it caves people's skulls in. What more could you want? Well, some skill tree nodes would be nice. Yep, Wuchang has a skill tree with 6 branches, one for each of the 5 weapon types and one for general character stuff like flask upgrades. Upgrades to your core stats are included as nodes on each skill tree as well, and with the red mercury I'd collected so far, a very legally distinct currency whose resemblance to souls or runes is entirely coincidental, I could unlock 2 extremely important skills. Tide Turner, which makes the 3rd hit of your light combo restore some stamina, and one of the 2 MVPs of the run, Thunderous Cleave, which generates 3 Skyborn Might with the 4th hit of your light combo. After meeting Heiyutsai, an old friend whose quest is important for the endings, I learnt my first spell of the run and made my way to the Lightsen Temple to face the first boss proper, Man-Eating Datanga. Well, technically this human-shaped punching bag along the way was the first boss, but Datanga gets a cutscene, whereas the most she could manage was a pop-up tutorial. So, like someone who's trying to bullshit their way through a maths exam, she's just there to make up the numbers. Datanga isn't difficult by any normal metric, but he does hit hard and I had very few heals at this point, so I'd need a little something extra. Luckily, I'd now unlocked the most broken axe skill in the game, Earth Shatter. For the low cost of 3 Skyborn Might, triggering this skill grants you resilience for a short time. Basically, infinite poise, allowing you to attack or heal through, well, anything. And you might recall that 3 Skyborn Might is exactly the amount you get back for completing a 4-hit light attack combo, which is convenient because not only does this grunt outside the boss fight take 4 hits to kill, so you can start the fight with 3 Skyborn Might, but it also means you can just Earth Shatter, do the combo, Earth Shatter, do the combo, you get the idea. This still wasn't easy as there are some timing issues to consider. If you don't have resilience active during the phase transition, you're going to have a terrible day, for example. And on the victory I got really lucky with a clutch stagger, as well as having to use up my emergency heal to seal the deal. But hey, job done. Killing him gave me a key, but more importantly, the ability to use Temperance, which lets me apply various buffs to my weapons. Okay, the key is pretty damn important too. Just a quick note, there is also another axe skill called Rampage that's great for tank builds as well. However, for a run where you literally can't dodge or avoid attacks, Earth Shatter is just the better option due to resilience. So, now you don't have to spam my comments going nah 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 Rampage nah nah nah. Or, you know, do it anyway, I'm not your mother. Or am I? With the gate open, I could head onwards to the Shu Sanctum, a hub of sorts, featuring new characters such as Unscrupulous Merchant, Batshit Mental Lady, and Mysterious Old Man who looks like a 20-year-old with a fake beard. Ooh. From here I could also work my way through the rest of the first area, Worship's Rise. And here's an aspect where this game really shines: the level design. If you're a fan of exploration with Dark Souls 1 style looping shortcuts and alternate routes, which I am, this game has you covered. And unlike some Souls-likes which attempt this and end up with confusing labyrinths of grey nonsense, Wuchang's areas are, for the most part, distinctive, visually interesting, and actually make sense. This doesn't apply to every area, there are definitely a couple of weak ones, but for the most part this game is a joy to explore. It's also not afraid to wear its influences on its sleeve. For example, these door-wielding absolute units who feel straight out of Sekiro, or some bullshit enemy placements in tribute to Peak Souls 2. Oh, thank God for clutch staggers, eh? Some things of note that I ticked off my list here were fighting my first elite enemy, LOL, and also Lamau. Thanks for the armour. I guess elite enemies aren't worth worrying about. Ow! Ow! Okay, I take that back. I also pummeled my way through the usual assortment of grunts, avoided the scary looking fire priest guy in the courtyard, and carried on with my... Oh, okay, I guess not then. Your loss. Cleared out the nearby rooftops to pick up the single best axe in the game, the Empyrean Great Axe, fought my first inner demon invader, met some more NPCs, like this little storyteller fella who probably isn't that important, and the panda, who definitely is the most important person. And I went toe to toe with the most deadly enemy in the game, No, not this guy, or this lady, or these appalling hellspawn. It's this corner camping little shit. I hate you so much right now! Ah! Fortunately, the vast majority of normal enemies in this game are particularly weak to getting stun-locked into an early grave by my big old chopper, and with all the red mercury I'd accumulated, I could splash out on upgrades. I purchased a couple of benedictions from the merchant Wuchang. These are stones that can be inserted into your weapons for extra bonuses. I levelled my axe to +2 and unlocked a couple of important nodes in the left-hand skill tree. One which lets you buff your weapon a second time during fights, and one which grants the ability to apply the Leech Temperance buff. This buff lasts 1 minute, and while active, gives you life steal on attacks. I am Wuchang, Axe of Mikola, etc. It's not as potent as something like Bloodborne's rally system, so I'd still need to use healing flasks as well, but it was the edge I needed to push through the harder parts of this run. Let's recap. Great Axe plus Earth Shatter plus Leech Needle equals easy mode. Kinda. So let's go test this on some bosses. Lu Honglu, an optional boss who is the cause of the feathering outbreak in Worship's Rise, is pretty straightforward, and only took me 3 tries. She stands still a lot, so I could serve up more 4-piece combos than a KFC, and she also staggers easily. She also does a big long scripted phase transition attack, where she pukes blood and then stops doing anything for a while, a bit like me on a night out, so you can pretty much just wail on her until dead. Not only does this make the crazy girl very happy and allows me to buy the Fiend Felling pendant from Tao Ching, but she also drops the Echo of Lu Honglu, a spell which would come in clutch later in the run. The actual boss of the area is upstairs in the Shu Sanctum, the feathered priest Lu Bingzhang. The amount of Skyborn might you have slowly degrades over time if you don't keep building it up, and there were no enemies close enough for me to enter the fight with 3 stacks. So not only does this mean I'd have no resilience active to begin with and end up tasting the floor a lot, but he also flies up in the air constantly, which makes it really hard to connect the 4th hit of a combo. I also got this one on 3rd try, but only thanks to a huge slice of luck. With one of his attacks, he knocked me back towards the fog gate, and then he ended up stuck between me and the door, unable to take off, so I could combo him at will. Just don't ask what's going on here. I got corrupted, Wuchang's equivalent of poison, and almost died, but one absolutely clutch stagger and a steam bun later, and the priest was dead. So was I, but nobody cares about that. The Feathered Priest unlocks the passageway into the basement, and this place is basically Blight Town. See? Blight. This area is pretty unremarkable, aside of another very useful pendant. So I made my way down... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realise it was that kind of place. Anyway, where was I again? Okay, I heard you the first time. The boss here was the hardest so far by a long way. The Blight Weaver Centipede. Corruption? Check. Fire damage? Check. Magic? Check. Blight? Not even slightly. I feel so ripped off. Phase 1 has a gimmick where if he runs into one of these electrified pillars in the arena, he stuns himself for a while. By standing right next to a pillar when he charges, he'd still hit me, so no attacks avoided, but he'd also knock himself silly, giving me time to power him down to phase 2. But that's where the problems start. He does 2 long attacks in this phase. His burrowing attack, which he repeats several times, forces you to heal repeatedly if you can't dodge it. And you'll also run out of resilience because it's just so long, so you have to hope you can follow it with a 4-hitter. And this magic attack is basically death if you're in the wrong place when he starts it. If you're right underneath him, or far enough for him to knock you out of range, you might survive, but anything else is unlivable. I died a fair bit here and got lucky on the winning attempt with my positioning for both the times he did the magic nonsense. But it still took a clutch finish to squish this disgusting bug, and I pushed onwards to Doom Willow Beach. Yeah, forgot about that. Whoever named this place clearly has no idea what a beach actually is, but it's another nothing burger of an area, where the enemies are mostly just trees. Oh boy, I hope there isn't some gimmick tree boss at the end. God damn it. Nothing to say here really, it's a tree, it doesn't move, it does some kind of hand slam thingies that don't actually target you, and it occasionally poops out some little plague babies for you to christen with your axe. But yeah, that's it. And with the two worst areas out of the way, this is where the fun begins.
That is sacred, not for your hands.
Uh-oh. First though, back again for round 2. It's the Tang Palace maid. Yep, still easy like a Sunday morning. Good thing the next boss is here to provide a rude awakening. Honglan is the noob filter of this game, and will wall you hard Genichiro style if you're not willing to engage with the combat mechanics properly. And not engaging with combat mechanics properly is my middle name. My parents were weird, so you understand my concern. More strength, axe to +4, max madness, set benedictions, and I prepared to bed in for a while. Oh, honey. Please ignore everything I said before. Despite my crushing victory, Honglan somehow knocked me out and took the magic chisel I needed, and I woke up back at the Revenant Temple, got the latest goss from my friends, and set out to follow Honglan's trail through the Spire outskirts. This is the obligatory snow area of the game, where your goal is to light some beacons to lower a bridge into Spire proper, and I have feelings about this area. On the one hand, the level design is great here once again, with lots of different ways to approach your goal. On the other hand, some things here are just there to irritate the piss out of you with no logic. Why would the rebels fill their own rebel camp with hidden landmines? Who does that?
Boss! Boss!
What is it?
It's Terry! He's fucking dead!
What do you mean he's dead?
Well, he got up and walked out of his tent this morning and he stepped on a landmine and now he's dead!
Oh, yeah, I put those there.
What? Why would you do that?
Well, what if a crazy lady covered in feathers shows up and starts killing everyone, eh?
But what are the chances of that
General.
Yeah, I had a fun time here. On the other hand, you can draw dicks in the snow, so 10 out of 10 game, no further comments.
Just summon me with that whistle, and I'll...
Nah, I'm good, thanks. With a trail of frozen corpses in my wake and a few more upgrade bits and bobs, I could face off against Aven Marsh, another optional boss, whose whole vibe is basically round frosty Radahn without the horse. He always starts the fight by jumping across the arena at you, which is good, because the most important thing with a lot of these bosses is denying them any space to do anything. As long as you keep him in the narrow passage near the fog gate, he can't jump too far away, and you can just poise heal through everything. Quite appropriate that one of the ice area bosses got melted. Now, to give the same treatment to the actual boss, the Ming General, Wuchang. I'd only played the game through once before doing this challenge, so I only had a vague idea of which bosses might be tricky with these restrictions. But out of all the suspects on my list, I certainly didn't expect, random ice dude whose name I'd totally forgotten to be right near the top. There are several issues that make this fight difficult. One is his constant frost procs. Frost lowers your stamina, and even with consumables and frost-resistant armour, he would consistently keep reapplying it, meaning it was a lottery as to whether I'd have enough stamina to complete a 4-hit combo at all. And since a lot of his attacks cause knockdowns, having the ability to earth shatter at will was crucial. An even bigger problem was his big ice AoE. If I was too close, this was a straight up one-shot even with resistances. I was using plumed branches, a rare consumable to give myself skyborn might before entering the arena, and I started out with 15 of these. Let's just say, I didn't end with 15 of these. So, how's it going?
Die, rebel scum!
Look, Mama didn't raise no quitter, but people change. So I decided to go elsewhere to clear a couple of optional side areas and smoke some trees. With 3 more skill points, I leveled up a touch, optimised my outfit, and returned for round 2, which was more like round 30 by the time I won. This was another scrappy victory, and if I'd made one mistimed swing at the end, it would have been curtains for me. But I clutched up again and powered through. Ooh boy, I hope the next area is easier. Nope, it's not easier. Aside of more new deadly varieties of enemy to contend with here, the main things of note in Cloud Spire are NPC related, including 2 which are crucial to obtaining the true ending. The first is our old pal Heizai again, who seemed surprised to see me, even though he literally left pinwheels everywhere to tell me exactly where he was. The next is Fang Yao, who for now is just a disembodied voice behind a door, and is also required for some of the endings. The last is the Great Yonder Gang. They're not relevant for any of the endings, but they do have a cool side quest that I missed first time round, so that's a good enough reason to do it. I also got shot with a cannon, succumbed to despair, met an 8-foot tall goth mommy who was somewhat inappropriately dressed for the cold, and found a pair of leggings that definitely weren't just panties. All in all, a great day. I wonder what's in here.
Bride for my little boy. I should have picked you.
Huan Yan is a problem. Aside of the fact that she moves around a lot, making it very hard to 4-hit combo her, this fight boils down to one crucial factor: finding a way to negate her corruption shotgun. Huan Yan has one attack where she shoots out balls of corruption magic with very little warning, and as each ball has its own hitbox, if you're right in front of her when she does it, it's a guaranteed one-shot. And guess where I needed to be since I can't dodge? Yep, right in front of her. Luckily, I had a strat in mind. If you stand still after entering the fog, she'll almost always teleport closer to attack you, and sometimes she'll teleport right onto you. And once she's by the fog, she can't move away as easily, so you can get to chopping. What about the shotgun though? Well, remember this little spell we got from old Beakface earlier? Turns out it's the final piece of the puzzle. not only does the Echo of Honglu cost hardly anything to use and can be cast quickly, but it also briefly staggers humanoid opponents. And once she's staggered, you have just enough of a window to combo without her being able to whip out the insta-kill nonsense, which in turn means being able to maintain Earth Shatter through her dive-bombing fox phase. Oh, did I tell you she turns into a dive-bombing fox? I probably should have mentioned that at some point. And with her caught in a loop, I push through for the victory far quicker than I'd expected.
Thank the heavens. With your strength, I know you can rescue Ling. I'm sure of it. Sisters we are, sisters will stay. Sisters from birth, sisters till grave.
Yep, got it.
Smithies they are,
Oh,
scissors
you're
they'll
still
make.
going.
A tool
Sorry.
for us to help us escape.
We have Sen's fortress at home. Actually, Sen's has nothing on some of the bullshit here. And what the hell is a poise break status effect? Oh. Oh, okay, I hate it here. Further down, I found my old foe Honglan locked in a cell. How the turntables, lady. Good thing I'm a nice 17th century Chinese pirate, so I killed the big hat lady for the key to free her. I said I killed the big hat lady for the key. I hope you know what I had to go through for this, Hongi. I also caught up with Heyudzai again.
There's something peculiar about this shaft.
Herpes? Appropriately for something at the base of a shaft, the next boss is balls. Don't look at me like that. In summary, fast mobile boss plus hits hard plus awful status effect plus 2 phases equals L plus ratio plus something something. Starting the fight with no Skyborn Might was just no. So let me briefly talk about Biding Time, a skill for the one-handed sword class which stacks up Skyborn Might upon attacking enemies, meaning I could build it up on a nearby enemy before switching back to the axe for the boss. There you go, I talked about it. Did it stop me getting my ass handed to me in a takeaway box for the next 2 hours? Did it fuck. As I had spoken to the important NPCs in Cloud Spire already, I was fine to move on to the next area for now, as long as I made sure to ignore Heyudzai at the refugee camp, as speaking to him before beating the blushing bride would break a quest, and I pushed on into the Aven Marsh. I'd imagine this area invokes mixed feelings. I personally think it's a great zone, but it is confusing, maze-like, and filled with parasitic worm men, crabs, even bigger crabs, and birds, as the name suggests. So many birds! Birds that are so overpowered they probably get out of bed late and still catch the worm. And that's before even mentioning these guys who apply an insta-kill status effect to you for just being in their line of sight. Still, strong enemies equals lots of useful levels, so I was finally powerful enough to head back to Fangling. Okay, let's do this dance, lady.
Sisters we are, sisters will stay. Sisters from birth, sisters till grave. Smithies they are, scissors they'll make. A tool for us to help us escape.
Sisters we are, sisters will stay. Sisters from birth, sisters till grave. Smithies they are, scissors they'll make. A tool for us to help us escape. Sisters will stay. Sisters till grave. Sisters will stay. Sisters till grave.
Beyond the shaft and the Aven Marsh lies my absolute fave area in the game, the Zhenwu Temple. I love the design of this place, both visually and from an exploration perspective, with lots of puzzles, traps, hidden corners, and more brutal enemies to challenge. On my travels, I also bumped into Huang Jiani sitting in a pool of blood. I really feel like her mental health has turned a corner, and definitely didn't die to this stupid bird dude at the end of a long section just before I'd unlocked the shortcut. Twice! See? Fun area. Thanks, I noticed. If the midpoint boss of the temple had been in Neo, I'm sure he would have been a terrifying prospect. But this isn't Neo, so... Who even are you again?
Thug, and yet such skill.
Beyond this absolute nobody lies the path to the final boss of this act, but I still had unfinished business in Birdsville. Oh god, this was an awful idea. And we're still going. And we're still going. A little bit extra, guys. Over 2 hours of Ming General or 3 hours of Perfect Bride? Psh, I'll see that and raise you over 6 hours on this feathery prick. The Bow Sorcerer. This might be my favourite boss in the game without restrictions, but for this run, she was 50 shades of kryptonite for my build. Where to begin? Too much damage to leech it all back? Yep. This damn attack she starts the fight with 50% of the time, which has about 1,000 active hitboxes at once. Good luck with that. Ultra mobile and hard to combo? Long drawn out attack sequences that make it difficult to keep resilience active? Damn right. Huge long AoEs? How about a grab with a nanosecond tell? Look, I might be making her sound nightmarish, but she's not actually so bad on a casual playthrough, although it definitely feels a little overtuned for this point in the game. Here though, she beat my ass like an oil drum in a Slipknot song. I should upgrade my axe. Nope.
Thinks to best me.
Maybe the issue is fashion. Yeah, no. Hold that thought. I'll be back.
Well, well. You've come this far. I'm impressed.
You know how every Souls-like seems to have that one boss that everyone else struggles with, but you don't? Well, for me, it's the final boss of this act, the Fierce Tiger. I first tried this guy on my casual playthrough, so I was looking forward to him providing more of a challenge this time round, and... nope, even with restrictions, he's still piss easy. I don't get it, guys. Stack up on resistance gear and his lightning attacks won't kill you, resilience will let you poise through his laser, and for the most part he stands still a lot after his pretty readable combos, and has relatively low HP, so he just melts. There is a phase 2, but it's basically phase 1, but now he has a cool hat. Beyond the tiger sits the storyteller. Remember that totally not important guy? And, whatever you do, don't talk to him yet or you'll be locked out of multiple endings. Instead, I progressed past him to Ferry Overlook, an area where you can finish off a few NPC quests, as well as taking a boat over the waters to the Bai Mansion, my old home, to catch up with Lucatil from DS2, say hi to Young Thug, and fight my brother. Well, to fight what was my brother once upon a time. You know, somehow I'm starting to pick up on the vibe that resurrecting people might actually be a terrible idea. Onto the fight itself, and Bai Crew is basically phase 2 Orphan of Kos with slightly less chaos. Sure, he may have the second largest HP pool in the game, and he's pretty mobile, but he's a bit of a boomerang. If he jumps away, don't worry, cause he'll be back pretty shortly. And unlike most of the hardest bosses in this run, he doesn't have any super long animations that cause your Skyborn might or resilience to run out, so it's just a case of comboing him to a slow but steady death. Really, Baron? Still here? Fine, I'll stop stalling. Is this what you want, Wuchang? Is it?
A power beyond your comprehension awaits. Go any further, and you may never return.
So, lore recap. Why is everyone trying to kill each other anyway? Well, A, because it's a Souls-like, but also, as Snoop would say, for chisel. Namely, 4 magic chisels with the power of resurrection, which all the other invested parties are after too. Whether it's to create a perfect bride from a corpse, to bring back powerful leaders from the dead, or to... well, actually this sussy MF's reasons are as yet unclear to me. Oh, and there's also some ancient bird people known as the Bow, who want to do... I have no idea what, but I'm pretty sure it's nothing good. Never trust a hot lady. With everything escalating, all the factions were now just busy fighting each other, and I found myself back in Worship's Rise, which has definitely seen better days. It's not all bad though, because I could wear my cool new hat. This act of the game introduces you to the actual worst enemy in the game, the Avian Hunter. These guys are pretty high up the list of worst enemies in Souls-likes, full stop. But hey, maybe you think enemies with status effect machine guns are fun, so I'm not going to yuck your yum. With all of Heyuzai and Fang Yao's quest stages completed, I could now obtain 2 very important items from them, the 2 halves of the Ring of Samsara, before taking on the storyteller's request to deal with the threat of the Bow people, namely the Bow Magus. This isn't a particularly hard fight normally. The Magus is quite mobile but also quite easy to bully. She'll occasionally spawn some mildly annoying offspring, and she also has this move where she hides in a bubble that you have to break before you can damage her again, but for the most part she's straightforward. Until she does this. Yep, thank you Dragon Lady Placidus Axe. Not only does this attack have a long build up, but it also covers almost the entire arena. On a normal fight there is a spot you can stand in where it won't reach you, but since running away wasn't an option here, I had to rely on luck, and I'll be honest, I still don't fully understand this attack. On most attempts, it would do just enough damage to one-shot me. But on a couple of occasions, including the win, it didn't? Damage numbers and hitboxes are a little weird in this game sometimes, as this isn't the first fight where the same attack can produce wildly different results. But hey, a win is a win, and we proceed towards the finale.
If only the divine object was still here. In time, it could save all living souls.
Magic chisels? Nah mate, never heard of them. You're crazy, pal. I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea who or why this boss is, so feel free to spam my comments for engagement. He's pretty cool though. Phase 1 has some definite Moon Presence vibes with the flailing leaps, and kinda like the Moon Presence, he's also quite squishy. Still hits like a particularly angry truck though. In Phase 2, he transforms into a giant demon that almost feels like a Night Rain final boss, and while he does a lot of fancy light show stuff at the beginning of this phase, he doesn't do a lot of it anywhere near you, but it looks nice, I guess? Just pop a plume branch once he's done and get to work. He also has a health steal move, but since you can cancel it by hitting him, and I was always right next to him, it really wasn't ever an issue. And neither was getting combos off to stack up Skyborn Might, since he's not particularly mobile unless he teleports. The big guy fell after 9 attempts, something exploded, and I woke up in actual hell. The Bow Capital is what you'd get if H.R. Geiger designed a chicken farm and then asked Miyazaki to add some poison swamps. See? Chicken. The goal here is to make your way through, past these giant glowing faces that shoot you, in order to collect 2 halves of the Dectus medallion, in order to open up the path to Lane Del. No, wait. Also, it's really important for plot reasons to get sniped off an elevator. Trust me on this one, guys, I'm a pro.
Me? Oh, I'm many things. A wandering bard, yes, but also Durial, a deity worshipped in the shrines of Shu.
I told you guys I thought he was important all along. With the final area accessible, I could also finally get the feather I needed to max out my weapon level, and I prepared myself for the final boss. Hold up. Yeah, so the keen-eyed amongst you may have noticed I've missed out a few bosses. Here's the thing. There were several endgame bosses like Vermilion Honglan, the White-Robed Elder, and the Demon of Obsession, which I was especially worried about for this run. Demon of Obsession in particular destroyed me repeatedly on my first playthrough, and I still can't sit comfortably to this day. But, in fact, it turns out that these fights are actually really easy when you don't bother to learn how to dodge any of their attacks. Who knew? With those guys neatly wrapped up like a little burrito of death, I took one last trip to the shops and faced off against the final boss of the game. This guy. You know, this guy who rescued me at the start of the game, who I've basically not mentioned for the majority of this video? Whoopsie. Oh well. What's your secret? You are looking jacked, my guy. Or should I say, chiseled. Xuanyangxi is a big mobile boss with a huge arena, hard-hitting attacks, and a health bar the size of a large health bar. It's the end of the vid, I'm all out of metaphors. Sorry. I did have enough HP and defense at this point in the game to be able to tank his big hand slams. Mostly. And he's a big old target, so hitting him isn't an issue. But he does have a couple of problematic attacks. Not because they're powerful, but because they're really long. The first is this swooping flyby, and the other is this giant AoE. Luckily, the old plume branch consumable can come in handy here. While these are hard to obtain naturally in game, they can be farmed. See, if you die at maximum madness, you'll have to fight your own inner demon to get your souls not souls back. Kind of like Hollow Knight. But killing your inner demon has a chance to reward you with a branch. So, just die, kill demon, increase madness again, and repeat. With the branches, I could make sure I had enough Skyborn might to keep fighting once he's done wasting my time. And since by now I was outputting absolutely massive amounts of damage, I could easily power through the rest of his second phase and finish him off like a dodgy massage parlour. Now that everything in my path was destroyed, I could use the reformed Ring of Samsara to resurrect my sister. Only, as we've seen throughout this game, resurrection isn't all it's cracked up to be. And grief is just a cycle. So bringing the dead back only resets that cycle and restarts the events of the game all over again. Instead, I discarded the ring, stepped through the gate to set my destiny along a new path, and it was over. I had beaten Wuchang Fallen Feathers by face tanking everything. I definitely recommend this game to Souls fans. I'd initially dismissed it as mid-tier Gooner bait when it came out due to some, definitely historically accurate outfits. But you can completely ignore all of that aspect of the game and just enjoy a great Souls-like. And that's it. No clever outro. Catch you all next time. Peace out.
Wuchang, you did it. Our journey found its true ending.